Hey, 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 I'm FA, and this is your host, Ty Spikes, and I am here with an old friend of mine, Miss
Hey, how are
Jamaica. Hey
you? I got mine
there.
too.
Right, and so what my mug is today, it says Mom Life, as you can see.
Oh, I like that.
I am a full-time mother, but let's be honest, that first job is
Oh
mom,
yeah, oh yeah, oh
okay?
yeah.
All right, brought to us, Jamaica.
Now, I'm trying to hear you just a little bit, but mine is live, love, and teach. I used to be a preschool teacher as well. So one of my parents gave me my nice little mug, and I get to get a little soup and tea in mine.
Big mug. And hey, that goes for teaching kids and
Oh
teaching
my
your
goodness, yeah,
own
most
kids at
definitely.
home. All right. So this episode is entitled, well, as we know, it's February, right? And so all month, I want to talk about love and loving all things and loving yourself, others. But this episode is special because it's entitled Special Love, and it's about mothers with special needs children. And so let's talk Jamaica. So you do have a child that is considered special,
Yes, I
right?
do. And he doesn't want to consider himself a child anymore. He's 26 now. He's still my baby though.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
26,
26.
26. Wow. So how many?
I have five. If you just ask me how many kids I have, is that
Wow.
what you asked me?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
I have five. I have two sets of twins. The oldest of 26, Jalen is one of them. The last set of twins, they're 18, getting ready to graduate high school this year.
Wow, you have two sets of
Hmm.
twins. Wow, that's amazing. You gave birth three times and popped out five
Yes.
kids. That is
Hmm.
amazing. You come back and we go, okay? Uh, all right. So my very first question is I always hear people that would say that special needs is indeed a phrase, but of course,
Hmm.
there's a lot of phrases out there when it comes to labeling
Hmm.
your child. And so, what's would you say is the correct label to label, a child with special needs, or
So
is
special
that
needs is
even the
not an
title at
incorrect
all?
statement to make. It's just that the special needs term, as you stated a few minutes ago, includes a lot of different things. So Jalen was diagnosed early on with autism. He was later undiagnosed with autism because of the psychiatry that he had, because he's social. Before, a lot of psychiatrists used to say if a kid was autistic, they wouldn't hold a back and forth conversation, or they wouldn't give eye contact. We have so many different levels of autism. So later on, as Jalen became an adult and we discussed the autism diagnosis, they wondered why he didn't any longer have that diagnosis. And it was only because the psychiatrist we had before when he was young just took the diagnosis away only because he socializes. Not keying into the fact that there are so many different levels. We have Asperger's. That's a form of autism. A lot of them go to college. So, with having the diagnosis or the term special needs, you can have someone with just intellectual disability and they consider them special needs. It's just a way of saying that this population of people has special care or they need special care. So, because they used the term mental retardation for so many years and they were trying to find a way to get away from that term, they went through a lot of different words, terms, and phrases that would soften the blow of stating what it was. Now, for mental retardation, it's a term, it's a real term. It only sounds ugly when it's being said in an ugly way, and because it got so attached to so many negative descriptions, everybody wanted to stop using the word, but it was a real word, and it meant what it meant. You had an IQ under a certain
Right.
number, and it meant you had mental retardation. It just got such a negative vibe after a while until they just stopped using it, and then everybody just started trying to find new terms to use.
Right. So would you say uh, that IQ
Under
that's
70.
under the number that you stated? Does he have some disease or anything, or like what exactly made them determine that
So
he had
when
an actual
during the
disability?
gestation period, they noticed that Jalen was growing at a slow rate. And so we started doing a lot of testing. And because during the gestation period he wasn't growing at the rate that he should have, they determined early on that he was going to be underdeveloped. Only because he wasn't growing, like I guess when the period of during the gestation where if you're 7 months, you should be a certain weight and your organs and all of that should be developing at a certain rate and at a certain time. So by the time it was close for me to deliver, they had already seen where Jalen was maybe under both. He was under the birth weight, and
Mhm.
a lot of his organs hadn't developed as well. They didn't know yet that his brain was going to be underdeveloped, but they just assumed it because everything else hadn't developed at a certain rate. They figured that his brain wouldn't develop at the rate that it needed to be. So we didn't do an amniocentesis or anything. It was only based on how he was developing inside of the womb. So they decided to, they thought we were going to go full term, which is what I actually thought we were going to do. And then the doctor came on maybe just a month before I gave birth and said that because he wasn't growing at the rate they thought he should have, they wanted to go ahead and deliver early. Um, and after he was delivered, they didn't really know intellectually what was going on, of course, because he was just a baby. But his organs hadn't developed all the way. His lungs weren't developed, um, and everything that would have put him um, at the actual everything that would have matched it because they were comparing him to Nadia, his twin sister. And so when during
Right.
gestation, they didn't see anything wrong with her birth. And I'm not 100% sure what all they compared it to, but it was under
Mhm.
Nadia and it wasn't at
Mhm.
the rate that he was supposed to be. So at that time, of course, they couldn't determine everything that was going to be going on with him. By the time he turned 3 months, we did a genetic testing to see exactly
Mhm.
what was wrong. They knew that it was something
Mhm.
because his feet are deformed. He has deformity in his face. But they and
Right.
he had like these marks over his body. And they couldn't tell if it was just on his skin, if it was
Mhm.
topical, or if it was on his brain. So they did a few genetic testing, and it was early on,
Oh, wow.
so it was not much they could tell while he was young. So we've had two genetic testing since then, and after a while, after testing, and they don't see, they know something is wrong, but they can't pinpoint other than intellectual disability exactly what it is.
Right.
They just sent us another letter asking if we would do, a different type of genetic testing so that um, if what he has doesn't fall under another syndrome, it would be in a syndrome category of its own. If that makes any sense.
Wow. No, absolutely. So is that exactly what happened? Falling into a syndrome, or did they find something that was
So because
actually
they
already
haven't
named?
found anything if this is what you're asking me, because there's a little lag, because they haven't found any syndrome with him that's already been named, what they do is they do a study of him and everything that goes along with what was happening um to him through birth. It would
The
then become its
symptoms.
own syndrome. And then once they study other people after him
Wow.
who were like him, whatever they name this study or this syndrome, the new developments that they come with other kids would be then named after this syndrome.
So have
No,
they
they're still in
already
the
done
process.
that,
Like
or they're
we're like the
still
we
in the
we're
process?
we've done like four. This is our fourth genetic testing that we're getting ready to do. And so what they did was they had to
Wow.
test
Like,
me, his twin sister, because they were born at the same time. I guess they figured um, no other sibling of his would have had any of the chromosomes or any of the, I know I'm not giving the correct terms. Um they wouldn't have any of the same, and I hate that I can't call it, I want to say chromosome because those are some of the terms that was mentioned. None of his other siblings would have it. So they didn't test any of my other kids. They only tested his twin sister and his biological father and myself. And so they didn't see anything in Nadia, nothing in his
Wow.
biological dad, and nothing in me, which could have compared to where they could say, okay, well, he had XYZ due to this, which is why they're still doing genetic testing, even at the age of 26. So they say they will continue to
Wow. That's
test until either they find a syndrome like his or where they can actually pinpoint every single thing that happened and put it in a category of its own.
wow. That's a lot. That's a lot of great information. So my next question is knowing
Hmm.
that so you were pregnant with twins, you first find out that you're pregnant and eight, but then you get this news of like, is it growing
Hmm.
as expected? Um, so like as a mother, but this is your
First set.
first pair of twins or your second pair of twins? Wow. Okay, so you have pretty much what everyone
Hmm.
dreams of. You have a girl and a boy, and that your son is not growing, that he might not develop the way that he's supposed to. And I mean, I'm pretty sure like the dream that mothers have, like most of the things that I know for me, I just prayed for, healthy baby
Hmm.
and 10 fingers and 10 toes, right? So when you find like what
Well, I
then?
really didn't know.
Like,
I didn't know he was gonna live.
how did you feel?
So I wasn't expected to have him for long. They didn't tell me that he wouldn't live long. It was just that everything that they were discussing in reference to his lungs being underdeveloped, his brain being underdeveloped. I just didn't know enough about what that meant because you hear that and then everything shuts down and you don't hear anything past that. So you don't know what to expect. They never mention Down syndrome, and so to me, when you don't mention Down syndrome, you're thinking, oh, okay, well, what else, besides Down syndrome, what else could be going on? It can't be that bad. Um, so I didn't know, and even after I gave birth to him, he was about a pound. And even looking at him, we weren't sure because he wasn't maintaining his body temperature. They weren't really sure, if he was going to continue to grow at the rate that he should be going. And it wasn't promising. I really didn't know, what was going to happen. But they have a in the NICU, they have this wall of success stories. So you see babies who are just ounces, and then they show the later pictures. So I got hope, and I'm more than sure that was the purpose of the wall. When you're walking in and out of NICU, you're seeing, okay, well, if they live, surely, your kid would survive. And that's exactly what I saw. When I saw that, I'm going, if they survive and they were just a few ounces, I know Jaden has got to live through this. So, um, hmm, what'd you say?
I say it was like a
Oh,
faith
yeah, yeah,
wall.
yeah, yeah. So I didn't know. I just trusted that God would tell
Wow.
me what to do. That's it. Because I can remember one day
That's,
saying, man,
that's
if I don't know what I would do if I ever had a kid with special needs. And this is long before I ever got pregnant. And I felt the Holy Spirit say, you just take
right.
care of him. And that's exactly all I knew to do. Because, we had doctors asking if I wanted to have an amniocentesis. And I'm like, if I have one, for what? For me to decide once I find out something wrong, I'm not going to say I don't want to give birth. So it's not going to do me any good to find out because I'm not going to make the decision to say, okay, I'm going to terminate the pregnancy. And a lot of times that's that's one of the reasons they do it, to let you know or to give you an opportunity to decide if you want to continue on with the pregnancy. But I wasn't willing to take the chance of even thinking that I would want to terminate, if they told me something was wrong.
It didn't
No, it didn't
matter
matter.
at
No, and
all.
we didn't find out until I was about 7 months that he wasn't growing at the rate that he should be growing.
Wow. Wow. And so this is a different circumstance because again, one healthy baby and then one baby that
Yeah.
you just wasn't quite sure what was going to happen.
Hmm.
But from birth to 20, what would you say were some of the hardest things that you had to overcome as a mother of a child with special needs?
Um, One of the hardest things for me to overcome is thinking that I could do everything to make him better, to fix the
Mm,
disability. And it's so crazy
mm,
because I want him to be better, but I didn't want him not to have special needs because I love the kid that he is. I like everything that came,
yeah.
not everything that came with his personality. Um, his cuteness, his sweetness, you know, his ability to, I don't know, be innocent and love and just, I don't know, make me laugh. So I wanted all of that, but I wanted
Right.
him to be more independent. And I always thought, dang,
Right.
what if, he could be different? What if this one thing or this one therapy could heal him and make
Hmm.
him different? But I still wanted parts of him that had the disability. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how funny he would be if I just had this normal kid, or I don't know. It's so much of him that I enjoy with just who he is. It's just hard with some of the behaviors because he's 26, but he's still like a kid. I'm still dealing with him whining if he doesn't get his way, or him not taking
Right.
no for an answer. Like, it could be overwhelming, but I don't know. I just I see the goodness. He's my only son. I have a
Right.
heart for special needs people, period. And then it just so happens that I have one, so that was just a blessing. So I just, a lot of times I wish that I can fix the behaviors that overwhelm me. And I think that's what it is. It's the selfish part of it. The behaviors that overwhelm me, that I feel like that kind of takes me, out of character sometimes. I just wish I could control those.
Wow.
But that's
Wow.
it.
But I get you off, but you don't wish to take away, the special part of him,
Yeah.
and yet just some things that be kind of cumbersome. So, do you think he will ever be able to live on his own?
That used to be my prayer, for him to live on his own.
Okay.
If I can see it with the eyes I have now, I don't see it. Um,
Okay.
I don't know what God's plan is for him. I don't see it now. He has a lot of his self help skills, but he doesn't really understand the fullness of danger. Um, so whereas he could say it again.
I say, which could be a good thing sometimes in this world.
Well, yeah, yeah. Sometimes I say that, but Jalen will Jalen will walk out of the house and go down the street and not think I shouldn't have walked out of the house and went down the street, or he'll walk in someone's house and I think I shouldn't have walked in their house.
Oh wow. Right.
Or like if
Which can be dangerous.
oh yeah, or if he wants you to fix him something to eat, if he's ready, right?
So he's not thinking that he's 26, that he's a 26-year-old man,
Yeah.
but because he's still
Oh yeah, he's still a child.
kind of
Yes.
childlike,
Oh
correct?
yes. Mm-hmm.
Right. I might see him just as a grown man, and then bad things can
Yeah,
happen. So I can see
that's
the
the
scary
hard
part of
part
that.
because when you see him, you see a man. He's a big dude,
Right.
and he's an adult, and they don't know right off that he is mentally a kid. So
Right.
that's
Wow.
that's that's hard for me. And they don't know, he's a
Wow.
teddy bear.
Wow.
He's sweet, But sometimes it comes with an inappropriate behavior as well. So that's a little harsh.
Yeah. So, just like my episode is called, I'm pretty sure that there is a special love for a child such as that. Correct?
Oh my goodness, yes. Sometimes I've been trying to get the kids on board with it. They don't know I don't favor him. He's not my favorite. But it's a different kind of love that I have for him. And I know they just think that I just let him get away with murder, but I don't know. He my baby. He is.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
actually I also work with adults with special needs. So,
Oh, wonderful.
being with them helps me with Jalen, and being with Jalen and having patience and love for Jalen also helps me when I'm at work. It helps it not just be a job when I'm at work. When I'm at work with them, I love them. I see the need, and it's easy for me to, a lot of times when you're at work, sometimes you do your 8 hours and you go home. But being with them,
Hmm.
I get to think of, if this was my kid, what would I want for him?
Yeah.
If my child was going through the same thing, or if they needed the same type of attention and love, what would I do? So I'm able to have compassion for them because they're like mine. They're like my son. So,
Wow, that's great. So, Miss Jamaica, my last question would be the mother who found out today that child was not developing
hmm
as they should, or a who has a 5 year old who's
hmm
kind of at her wits, or a 20-year old who is just through. What would be some words of encouragement for mothers with special?
lean on people. It's hard to trust people with your kids, and that's why it was a little hard for me because
Mm.
I didn't trust anyone. I was worried that no one would treat him like I would treat him. Um, but
Mm.
find those communities where when someone says, "I got you. If you need me, call me." Trust them, believe them, lean on. Get as much education as you can. Don't beat yourself up. I used to think it was, I wonder, what did I drink? Did I drink the wrong water? Did I drink soda? Did I eat the wrong foods? Um, don't think it's your fault. Give yourself a little grace because there is no real handbook that tells you how to be patient. It doesn't tell you how to deal with any of the behaviors that they have. Love them, give them
Hmm.
understanding, get as much help as you can. There are resources out there, and there are a lot of parents who, by the time their kids graduate high school, they have no knowledge. So now they're out of high school, they graduate at the age of 20, 21. They don't know where to go and what to do. Don't be afraid to sign your
Mm.
kid up for services. It does not mean you broke and you need the government to take care of your kids. There are so many families who feel like, if I go reach out to some of the programs where I live, it's as though I'm saying I need a handout. That's not what it is. And if we can get a lot of parents to understand, get that out of your mind. When you are gone, they're going to need their resources. They're going to need everything that the state has for them once you're gone. So don't think of it as somebody's going to say, I need welfare if I go and sign them up for MHMRA or class or Medicaid. It is what's going to happen because when you go and sign them up, they're not, 9 times out of 10, they're not getting ready to get these resources today or tomorrow. And once they get
Hmm.
signed up, especially for some of the ACS programs, once they get signed up and actually get in there, that's it. They have it for a lifetime. So you want to start early.
Oh, wow.
Don't think about you. Think about them. You don't care what nobody says about you. When you're trying to get the services and when you're trying to get help, because it's overwhelming to take care of a typical kid who's throwing a tantrum.
Right?
How do you think it is when you're
Right.
trying to tell a 28-year-old, no, you can't drink 5 sodas today, and they're a grown man? And the state says, well, if he's his own guardian,
Right.
he can have those 5 sodas if he wants to. It's hard parenting because you're still parenting a kid and they're grown, they're adults. So that's hard. And Love them.
Yeah.
Be as patient as possible. When you need to step away because it's easy to get frustrated. And then they're on the other end and they don't understand why you're frustrated once you get frustrated.
Right.
So reach out for help. I would tell anybody, reach out for help. Don't try to do it by yourself.
Miss Jamaica, you have been a just a gem on this podcast. My heart and love goes out to you and to all the mother of special needs kids. It takes a special mother to love and to be patient with a child with special needs. You are amazing, and I encourage all mothers out there to just keep on keeping on.
Oh
It says
yeah.
patience and those resources.
Thank you. I
All
appreciate
right,
it.
Miss
But you know
Jamaica.
what? If I didn't have his sisters, who kind of tag team with me sometime when I get tired, his twin sister calls from upstairs and will call him back upstairs. His other twin sisters, they'll get him every now and then. If I didn't have that, it'll be
Wow.
sometimes I'm saying, look, it's either gonna be me or him. Somebody got to go, me or him. But they tag team with me and they help me out, so I really appreciate it. And my husband, of course,
Yes.
he takes it. I like a soft voice with him, but he's a man. But me being Mama Bear, I want you to talk like me when you
Right.
talk to him. But he don't need that. He need a stern hand sometimes. He need that strong voice sometimes. But I'm still ready
That
to
is
treat him like my
amazing.
baby.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much again for being on this
Oh
podcast.
no,
So, guys, don't forget, Pierce Way, spread love every day. Join us back next week for the Mom Cafe. Thank you so much, Miss
no,
Jamaica.
thank you, thank you,
Love
thank
on
you.
everybody. Babies. Thank you,
Good
guys.
night.
See you next week.